We're going to move on to the program, and Adekunle, I'm going to introduce Adekunle, and then he's going to introduce me. So, which is actually fun. So Adekunle sent me his bio last night at 3:30 in the morning. So I attest to his late nights, baby time. So Adekunle is a human resources lead consultant of culture and belonging at Target Corporation. In this role, he ensures awareness, understanding, and adoption of Target's culture, vision, and values throughout the enterprise while ensuring all team members feel a sense of belonging. He consistently works with various teams to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion, either directly through his culture role at Target or through the platform given to him through Target's African American Business Council. Outside of work, Adekunle is heavily involved in organizations such as his local Delta Sigma Pi alumni chapter and downtown Minneapolis YMCA board of directors. In Adekunle's spare time, he enjoys, when he's not spending time with Clara, or well, I'm sorry, he enjoys spending time with his wife and his newborn baby, Clara. They do a lot together. They cook, as he mentioned, bike, golf, and coach a local high school junior varsity soccer team. Today, Adekunle's favorite thing to do with his daughter is reenacting the Lions King Circle of Life. So there's a theme today for some reason. So please welcome Adekunle.
Glad I was able to give you that bio at 3:30 in the morning. Baby time. Ross Naylor is an architect and principal with Allianz located in Minneapolis. Allianz, by the way, 2 L's, 2 I's, is an energetic firm of 120 planners, architects, and interior designers working together to unite people and place through design. Ross cares deeply about helping his clients achieve success and believe this starts with developing a strong foundational relationship based on trust. This commitment allows him to achieve innovative and responsive designs that reflect a client's vision for a project. He continually strives to understand and develop how the environment will best suit the client's needs while maintaining a passion for creative, award-winning design and technical execution. Leading Allianz's science and technology studio, Ross applies his client-centric perspective to complex, clean manufacturing, research and development, workplace, customer, and employee experience spaces in the life science and high-tech sectors. That was a long sentence. He also continues to play key roles in the civic and community and sports sectors within Allianz. Ross is married to his wife, Kelly, of 20 years. Congrats. Has 2 kids, Ella and Thomas, and has been with the best Rotary Club in the world since 2018. Ross Naylor.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Adekunle, and thanks for everybody for joining. I was thinking it would be a lighter crowd here today, given the weather, but we'll get started and hopefully finish early, and if there's time for questions. So. I wanted to come back to where we started with Jennifer Jones. So she is our RI International Chair and or President, I should say. And her theme for this year was Imagine Rotary. So, and this is a statement that she put out at the beginning of the year. Imagine a world that deserves our best, where we get up each day knowing that we can make a difference. And I think that really captures what Rotary is all about. So it's a great message and something that we've tried to use as a theme going forward for this year. So I wanted to remind everybody of the goals that we established. These were goals that were set when we were on a 3-year strategic cycle. So when Carol was president 2.5 years ago or so, she and Gail facilitated a strategic planning session with Scott Benson, myself, and Carol, and went through and established what these goals were. So these are measures that we're trying to follow and meet over the course of the past 3 years. But it was founded and kind of based on this foundation, architectural foundation of this positioning statement. So City of Lakes Rotary is a local group of energized people at all stages of their careers who have a possibility mindset and connect to create positive change in their own community and around the globe. So that's our positioning statement. It's on our website. And I know there's a lot of people that were involved in creating that over the course of the past 3 years. So from this strategic planning, we established these four primary goals or priorities: member growth, member experience, reputation, and our impact, impact in our local community and the international community. So each one of those, we had defined objectives and outcomes, and I apologize if it's hard to read. We tried to measure those. So the green is good, yellow's kind of in the middle, red we need to do some more work on. Membership growth. Obviously, that's a goal for membership or for Rotary in general. The more people we have, the more impact we can have in our community. So define clear recruitment prospects reflective of our local business community. Over the course of the past 3 years, we've been able to do that effectively. Defining those goals, I'd say that over the pandemic has probably not really enabled us to kind of achieve those. So we still have some work to do on increasing our membership, but it's wonderful to see guests like yourself. And we actually have 2 inductions coming up March 22nd. So new members, and then I think another application that's being submitted by David Moynihan. I believe that was his name. So the outcomes, obviously we were targeting 95 members at the beginning of Carol's year. We're sitting somewhere around 80, 83, depending on those member applications I mentioned. The next one, member experience. Carol started this. Obviously, she's very big into data, so a lot of surveys were happening in her year and continued in Scott's year as well. So our member experience, how everybody feels about the meetings, the service projects, social engagements, we try to measure and keep track of and make sure that everybody has a different experience they're looking for from Rotary, from networking to service to other sorts of engagement opportunities. So we wanted to increase awareness and knowledge of member professional capabilities. So that was done. I think Jean facilitated a really good effort there and making sure everybody was aware of people's professional capabilities. Wanted to create member tools and engage and inspire members with the dynamic club programs. I think our programs this year in particular, as well as over the course of the past 3 years, have been wonderful and have a lot of wide variety of programs and speakers. And then increased meeting attendance. Thanks everybody for being here on a snowy day. So we do track that though, and try to make sure that everybody's able, feeling welcome and can join us in this fun time we have together. So reputation is very important in our local community. I think Rotary in general has a wonderful reputation that's based on our 4-way test and service. So develop close collaborative working relationships with other clubs. The Area 1 that I mentioned previously, there's 7 clubs in Area 1, and we get together on a monthly basis. Actually, I had 2 meetings in the past week with the Area 1 clubs and our assistant governor, Lloyd Campbell. So, or not Lloyd, sorry, Fred. And we talk about opportunities that we can work together. Currently, that's on the Preschool for Success program that the district is looking to make an impact, to provide free kindergarten or preschool to underserved children. So improve our website. I think Barack has probably had the most to do with the improvement of our website. That continues to be a great resource for people. And then leverage our social media, which is obviously Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter there. And I think that's been a success, including those text messages that remind people of their meetings. So last one is our impact, our service areas, our community service, international service committees, and club service committees. The impact that we have is immense. And I think that's maybe not necessarily why most of us come to Rotary, but it's, I think, why all of us stay. It's because of the service, the reward, the personal kind of a feeling that you get of serving others and giving back to the community. So I think that's a wonderful success over the past 3 years and the past 6 to 7 months. So the project activity shared quarterly from our members. This has happened to some degree. over the years. And I think that's a really great way to report and show our impact on a regular basis. The last one here is an annual fundraising project. That was something we talked about early on. I'd say it's one of the things that we've would like to do. And I think it's in the works as far as a fundraising event using a donation from one of our members. So there's a meeting coming up that'll talk about how we can best brainstorm and achieve that here. So any questions on these 4 priorities? Okay.
Dick thinks we should do a car wash.
Car wash? I love it. We could just chisel people's driveways. So we do annual surveys. I mentioned Carol started this and it was more frequent, but we do an annual survey and then pulse surveys. So this was actually done in September. It was after I gave the initial strategy for this year. So I wanted to share kind of the feedback that we got from you all, which really helped us roadmap what this year would look like. So you can see here, if you can read that, the top category for what your primary reason for joining Rotary was is networking, but close second is, and it continues to kind of ebb and flow a little bit, community service, international service. It's those service categories that are really driving why people are coming here. So I think the peer group and other kind of networking opportunities are really ways that we can achieve that networking goal. Obviously, many people, there's a broad definition of networking, whether that's just kind of being together for fellowship or networking for business. So how satisfied have you been with your experience with as a member of Minneapolis City of Lakes Rotary over the past 2 years? Extremely satisfied. I mean, we definitely are on the top end there. There are some outliers. We're still trying to make sure we meet everybody's vision and goals and engagement for what they want out of the club. So it's a ongoing process to achieve that. So this is really telling. This was kind of like the question after you take this survey. How could we improve your experience? The top one, more getting to know you time. I think I've tried to do that, maybe a little bit more spontaneous as far as kind of filling time before our program speakers for the table talks. Happy Bucks, we have increased that, I think, over the past 6-7 months. More chances to sit down and talk. As Russ said, we should not ring the bell and just keep talking sometimes. Continue to have quality speakers. Carol, Daniel, Mary Pat, our programs committee has done a wonderful job this year. And they'll talk about that in the future or towards the end of the meeting here. Happy hours again, bring back quarterly meetups. That's happened. More happy hours. Seems more interactions. This is the Net Promoter Score. Carol started sharing this 3 years ago. So how willing would you be to recommend the Minneapolis City of Lakes Rotary Club to a friend or colleague? So in September, we were at 74. We've consistently been in the kind of mid 70s. So this down here is the 74 number. So there's a formula there that determines that. You can see it's a little bit under the Zoom tab there, but this is what our scores have been since 2020. So you can see it's kind of ebbed and flowed a little bit, but the big kind of highlight here, since August of 21, we've had a 16-point gain in our Net Promoter Score. And this is somewhat dependent on who takes the survey. So, this survey, I think we had 56 or 60% participation. So obviously with 80, that's, around 40, 45 people that have taken the survey. So, so if everybody takes a survey, I think we may see a slightly bit different number, but it's always good to fill out those surveys because it helps us provide the best experience for everybody. Okay. This again is talking about happy hours. It seemed to be a theme of the survey, but 71% of people were wanting to have happy hours come back. And so the club service committee has worked on that, creating monthly happy hours. There will be one next week. Matthew isn't here to announce that, but he's working on actually coming here to the women's club next week for a happy hour. What our experience has been with the women's club. I think it's generally been really, really great. We were at the Minneapolis club prior to the pandemic, I should say, when we were all on Zoom, but ability to socialize before meetings is positive. Technical capabilities, which I think is probably the team over here. So wonderful experience there. The food, I think here has been good. We have had to kind of go to continental breakfast here to maintain our budget, which we'll talk about. The physical meeting environment, the parking, all those things I think have been a success of being here at the women's club. So provide some additional feedback. Another kind of open-ended question. Breakfast is way better than the Minneapolis club was a comment that somebody made, which is good to hear. Share the wealth of the MCOL volunteer opportunities. So that's about membership. I do still miss the memories at the women's club or the Minneapolis club. We were there for quite a long time. So there's a lot of people that we still miss over there. I love that people are coming back. So this is probably a comment about COVID. The energy in the club, I think has steadily improved and grown over the past few years. And then obviously the kudos to Brock so, for all he does. Thank you, Brock. All right, so our top priorities, our themes for this year were increased membership engagement. So focus on meaningful club engagement opportunities that reflect who we are and what we want to be as a club. And I think we've tried to do that over the course of the past 6-7 months, as well as the past 2 to 3 years. Build our community, so focus on community service, international service, develop key programs that elevate you all, as well as elevate the community. And then the best one, have fun. So I think we always try to strive to have fun. Our happy bucks, everything that we do here, it seems, our conversations, it's if we're not having fun, then why is it? It's not really worth it. So I've tried to do that, and hopefully you guys have had fun along the way. So a few kind of sub themes here. We wanted to make sure that all of our programs outside of happy hour are family inclusive. So inviting young children, my kids have joined several times on different events. Raking is of course an easy one for getting labor from your children. So that's been a lot of opportunity and things focus that we've had over the past 7 months. Connections for everyone, looking peer group. I think Andrew's going to talk about peer group and maybe a peer group plus another subset of peer group. So we'll look for that. And then listen and communicate. So survey, be more communicative relative to our schedules and different programs and events that are happening in a timely fashion. So for the full year. So our successes, and this is from my perspective. So, but programs, I think we have a wonderful, enthusiastic vibe in the club. I always look forward to coming to Rotary and always laughing. It seems we're always laughing. So making connections, I mentioned, on the volunteer opportunities, whether it's locally or beyond, our impact, our literacy focus, the fact that we give to Way to Grow every week, a book that's signed by leaders in the community is wonderful. Our hybrid meetings, I think, have allowed members to join from wherever. I mean, I think we have a big group today because of the snow and other reasons, but that's a wonderful thing that's been a success over the past, well, since COVID, I guess. And then meeting formalities and opportunities for laughter, coming back to making sure that we're all laughing together. So opportunities. So we more ways to connect and network. I think that we can always do better there. So if you decide to come to the meeting instead of going to work, Dick, that's a wonderful way to do that. Family inclusive. I think we could always be more family inclusive. The Other People's Money project I mentioned before is an opportunity. Enhanced communication and notifications. We're going to share at the end. If you're not on the text, there's a way you can do that and sign up and get the text messages so that you know what's happening in the club. Expand our young and mid-career reach. We want to broaden that, make sure that we're engaging younger members or members that are earlier in their career and providing programs and ways for them to engage with the club and with each other as well as with us. Julie Grape's district governor installation is in June. That's going to be a really fun event. I think she's planning on a boat cruise. So please be aware of that. There is a date. I didn't put it on here. Can't recall what it is at the moment, but please join if you can. And then be more visible and have more fun. I think we want to try to strive to have more fun always. Some new ideas we had talked about, the Sunrise Forum I'll highlight here in the middle. That is April 19th. It's around courageous conversations. Carol is working on that subcommittee with St. Paul Rotary Club as well as Maple Grove. But it'll be hosted here at the Women's Club. And the topic is loose, and we're still working on a title, but it's loosely around mental health in our school systems and where that falls. So there's a lot of work to be done and a lot of underserved children in our school systems that are really struggling. So that's going to be a great topic there, and obviously concentrate on service. So I did want to come back in July. I shared RI's commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. So Jennifer Jones is, and this was a big topic of the convention. So this is the message in the statement that they put out. Basically is essentially realizing our vision of a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change. We value diversity and celebrate the contributions of people of all backgrounds. So they're really kind of basing this in the four-way test. Our district, I'll remind everybody, also put out a statement or a memo here. And I'll just read the highlighted one. If everyone feels valued, respected, and welcomed at a Rotary Club, our organization will continue to grow. So I think we strive to be as welcoming as possible here at City of the Lakes. So I asked in July, what was our commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion? There was a subcommittee that was formed, and we discovered that back in June of 2018, a memo was adopted by the club that was around diversity and inclusion. And it's all based on the foundation of the four-way test, right? So we wish to actively welcome it and be inclusive as a club. The four-way test informs our values about diversity and inclusion and our work to create a healthy, sustainable, diverse, and inclusive club is informed by and based on the values that underlie the four-way test. So I think it's something that I think is really important to how we grow our membership and grow our club, and something that we should. There were other action items included in that memo. It is on the Club Runner site now. We did update that, upload that this year. So please look for that. But I wanted to come back and make sure everybody was aware of that. There was a memo and work that was done in 2018. So. Okay, so I'm going to run through a few budget updates, and then I know Cindy's going to come up, or sorry, Sheila's going to come up and run through our operations budget. So, but I'll remind everybody when we started back in, or when I shared kind of where we are and what our budgetary goals were for this year back in July. We have revenue, which is somewhat based on our membership. and then our operations and what those expenses are. The biggest expense is really our meetings here. But it's hard to see here, but we've been relatively, at least this portrays it relatively flat. But back in 2021, we were at 89, and we've seen a steady kind of decline down to about 80. I will say that there's probably 3 to 4 to hopefully 5 members, and we'll be up to 85, making a really good improvement on our membership. So we club budget projection. In July, we had a surplus of about $85,000. That was largely due to COVID because we did not have meeting costs expenses. We spent all our time talking to each other on Zoom. So that allowed us to develop a surplus over that time frame. But as you can tell, the blue line indicates kind of our burn rate of our operations. You know, by the time we get to, you know, this is my year, 23 to 24, Gene Johnson is 24 to 25, and then Sean. Unfortunately, it's in Sean's year that we have issues. So we're working on that, trying to make sure we achieve a successful future. And so Jean will talk more a little bit about that later when her year starts, but just wanted to make sure everybody's aware of kind of where we are with our membership dues and then what their expenses. So you can see here, our income is about 67,000. Our expenses are roughly around 83. And we're working to try to manage that with the women's club, with continental breakfast and so forth. So as well as Zoom and offsites. So 80 members is where we are at 67,000 roughly. We had shared 3 different scenarios for how we were going to manage this year. So we had 80 members, 41 in-person meetings, 1 continental per month. The last 6 months, we were not doing continental per se. So we are now alternating, just so you're aware. Today was a continental. Obviously, you didn't see bacon, sorry. But we're alternating every other week. But next week's bacon. Please don't show up only for the bacon. Yeah. So then we have we did budget in for Zoom meetings since January 4th, and then February 22nd last week. We've had 2 Zoom meetings because of snowstorms. So that's been good. And then the programs committee is working on offsites. I know there's an exciting offsite we'll announce here today too in May. So that put us at a deficit of 11,484. It's really 16,484 because this year we the host, the district governor's Rotary Club hosts and funds the installation. So we did budget this year for Julie's installation in June. So that's a $5,000 amount. That's kind of an outlier for this year that we wouldn't see next year. Okay. Now I'll invite Sheila to come up and share a little bit more.
Well, really, Ross, good morning first. Ross really covered the highlights. What we haven't done a lot in the past is be transparent about how we intend to end the fiscal year. And so this is a depiction of where we think we're going to land. So we hope to bring in new members. And again, thank you for coming. So we don't expect to meet our goal, our budgeted goal of 66,461. But we're going to get close and we may exceed it. We think this is a conservative number. Most of the expenses, as Ross pointed out, really are around the meal cost and trying to provide a good experience for all of us. It is expensive. So we are hoping that you will be patient with us as we make you eat cold food every other week. And chances are that will continue just so we can balance our budget so that poor Sean doesn't go down with the ship. We do to point out what Ross said, we would normally have around a $10,000 deficit, but it's Julie Graves installation. We are budgeting $5,000 for that. And she is the third person from this club, by the way, to be inducted as district governor. So we have to stop that. Right? Well, or do fundraisers for these people. But we've been very fortunate though to have our district governor. So I really at the end of the day, we're going to end the year where we thought we would. It's, as Ross mentioned, it's not an ideal number, but it is manageable. And the powers that be are working really hard to turn the tide. So that's all I've got. Thanks.
Thank you, Sheila. All right. Yes, Russ.
Order International is raising to district. As far as I know, I've been paying $900 a year for years.
Yep.
When we gonna raise dues? What's our sensitivity? What is our sensitivity to raising dues?
So I think that's being considered at the moment because meal costs are going up. I mean, eggs, if we want eggs, is going up. But yeah, everybody's costs are going up. So there's a group working through that right now. So for this year, dues are where they are, but I think there's more conversation to be had there.
If you want bacon, bring more members. More members.
Bring the bacon. Yeah.
One quick question, Russ. So at 80 members, we're unbalanced. Do you know how many members would that break even?
We were around 92, 95 around there to be on balance is what we've calculated previously. We have like 5 minutes and we're just starting our committees. So I hope people can stay, but if you do have to leave, we understand. So I'm going to go through this. We've had a lot happen, including 2 of our members having babies, including Etta Kunle. So it's been a fun first 7 months. Membership. Go to you, Sean.
Yeah, no, very okay, be intentional, be specific. So we're talking about vocations. Networking is a huge thing when people come here. And people starting their careers, mid-careers. When you think of it, don't think more broadly, think more specifically. A chiropractor that's nearby or close enough. A dentist that's nearby or close enough. We don't presently have any developers that are in. I would say an insurance person would be a really good idea to bring. I mean, I'm talking about somebody coming up through the ranks. We've had other insurance people in here. That's really been a positive thing, and they're thinking of networking. So think with specificity about it. And the other part, and it does tie to open, is that people are much more open to coming back to things. So maybe they weren't comfortable a couple of years ago, or you didn't think, they might not want to come in person, but they're more open now to coming back to things. So invite them along to our events that we're doing out in the community, because that's a great way to introduce somebody to what we do as Rotary, and then invite them to a meeting for the networking and for the growth. So thanks a lot.
Thanks, Sean. All right, Andrew, I'll invite you up to run through your slides here.
I'm not sure we'll go through all the slides, just be mindful of time here, but I'll just kind of do an overall summary and probably then click on through. But I'd say one of the big things we did was really level set the committee, make sure we know who's on the committee, who's engaged. Want to really give some special thanks to Russ. I know that he's really looked into this peer group too, on really ways to engage our members further. So as we are looking at vocational, as that's one piece people bring into of trying to say, how do we get that out there? Chris Morris has also taken a lead on many of the initiatives we've done, most recently with the Dunwoody. But beyond that, he also does line up those speakers. So if you do get an email from him to share your vocation, if you could respond to him, that'd be great. But just kind of echo what Ross said about membership. I think there's a great opportunity to engage people, and the vocational service committee is one that does allow that track. So please consider inviting people to the various things we're doing. Dunwoody has mock interviews. I know at the YMCA, we're going to do a Rotary Day during the summertime. It really highlights Rotary there. We also have the different events that we've been doing with the peer groups and really trying to get that peer group too. So if you are someone who goes to the regular peer groups, really invite you to help launch that other one as well. I'll see if I know it's like a one slide thing here, Sean. I mean, that's what I probably should have done. We did send some students to Camp Enterprise. We also plan on sending about 5 students to Rotary Youth Leadership Academy, Camp Ryla coming up as well. If I missed anything. I did not. So there we are.
Thanks, Andrew. And thanks for the quick run through there. So community service, I think Lynn is online.
Yes. Hi, Ross.
Hi, Lynn.
Hi. This is some pictures of some of the things that we've worked on this past quarter and past year. One of the goals that we had with community service is to have at least one volunteering event per month, and we definitely achieved that. And you can see pictures from all different kinds of event, with the middle one being obviously Rake, Rattle, and Roll. But the holiday ones we did with CES, both the gift bag packing and the serving of cookies and that at their big party. We also, as a group, contributed almost $5,000 in gift cards to Way to Grow for holiday for families, which was outstanding. And we have contributed so many great things. This is sort of a lineup of all of the things that we've achieved. And you can see there's definitely both the grants, but also the volunteering activities. CES, 480 bags packed for that. So really exciting projects that we've contributed, and we look forward to continuing that trend with obviously the CES event this week, but also coming up with some other new activities that we can be involved with. But that is kind of an overview.
Great. Thank you, Lynn. International service, Rob.
Are we ready to go?
Thank you, Ross. Pictures are worth 1,000 words, so I'm going to keep my verbal part very short. In fact, what I'd like to do, I think the picture speaks for itself. It's a busy slide, but it's a busy committee. And you can see on the left-hand side, we've listed the places, and on the right-hand side as well. And the nature of the work is also mentioned underneath, but the dots on the map show our reach globally. But let me take the moments I have just to point out who is all involved in this. I'd like to name the people who are on the committee. Many of them are here. Maria Bavender, Sheila Gothman, Tom Tamura, Anna Agrippina Pisukai, Claire Burkett, Keith Soquist, Todd Marshall, John Vandermeide, David Wheeler, Bill Jackson, Jim Nelson, Jim Eaton, Greg Beckstrom occasionally. Carolyn Alquist is kind of looking at us as a possible place to light her talents. And then also we should mention that Vernon Castillo, who is pictured here on the right-hand side, is we take credit because the Rotary Youth Exchange is part of our committee structure. And they're the ones who have brought Vernon to us and other exchange students in the past and will do so in the future. We also sponsor Global Scholars, Addie Cross, who's currently at the University of in Scotland. And then Julia DiGiorgio is another prospect we're working with right now as another possible global scholar. So I'd like to thank all of those people who contributed to all of this. I won't go any further. Time is limited, but thank you everybody for participating.
Thank you, Rob. I know the International Service Committee does a lot of work and with Bill and water and focused on water, feminine hygiene, great events that are even here local that have an impact internationally. So thank you. Thank you, Rob. So club service, I'll run through this quickly. I mentioned Julie's installation in June. But there's this is our calendar that we shared. We filled out the rest. I'd look for those happy hours across the bottom. It'd be fun to do a Twin Saints game. I know we did a Saints game last year. So I had a Kunle on the field jumping, doing a game. That was fun. And then Julie's installation, as I mentioned. So look for those events. I'll quickly run through the programs in review. There's been over 35 programs ideated, sourced, and promoted from the Hosta Garden that happened at Gary Mosman's house, the Fillmore and Element Hotel event. We had a summer party. The Daily Bread, Sean's daughter came in. That was a wonderful program. Our financial outlook, of course, with Sharon Bloodworth. Coming up in March, Minnesota Hockey Greats, hometown talent in the NHL. We'll have a conversation about car theft or auto theft in Minnesota, vocational roundtable, and then Vernon, who had to run out for a play school, will speak on the 29th. Some more teasers that Carol shared. April 12th, Engineers Without Borders. I know Bill's really tied with Engineers Without Borders. The Sunrise Forum I mentioned on April 19th. And then a very special trip to Schmidt Music, their new space on May 10th. So that should be a lot of fun. This is what I mentioned at the bottom here. If you're not getting text messages, you just text Rotary to 55678. And you will get our text messages. I'm not sure how this whole thing works because it seems like the numbers never change, but you always get text messages from the right people. So with that, we're 5 minutes late. Any other questions that people have? Or anything people want to add? Not, oh, Anna Priscari.
I know we're over time, so I'll try to be quick. Something that caught my attention in your survey slides, that more or less the numbers for the last 3 years stayed the same for the questions, but there was one category that I see like an increase, and that was personal professional development. It went from 2% to 11%. So I was wondering if any committees have considered like what can we do in that area since there's more interest.
Yeah, I think vocational committee and the peer group in particular, I think once you start to offer those types of things, you start to see increased interest. And I think the peer group is one of the most successful reasons and drivers for that, in my opinion. So I think as Andrew mentioned, a peer group 2.0, and maybe it's a different time of day that would attract different members. I think that's one opportunity to do that. But I'd encourage, I know Jean's online, but to think about next year too, in trying to kind of lean into that. Yep, Russ.
Peer group is taking off. Peer group is taking off at the district level too. I'm going up to Sauk Center and we're going to try to get one going there. Any help? We're going to do St. Louis Park is going to do one. It's a great tool. The way I want you to think about peer group is if you are in that group, here's a group of your private board of directors. That's the way I want you to think about it. So from a personal development standpoint, it's right on.
Yeah, agreed. Any other questions people have? I know there's people leaving, which I appreciate, but all right. Any questions online, Brock? Nope.
Lots of chat.
Lots of chat. All right. Well, I wanted to thank our volunteers for the day. Our creator, John Rent, reflection from Sean about being open. That's wonderful. Happy Bucks, Russ Mickelitz. Thank you. Our day chair, Ed Akunle. I saw him escape. Probably looking to go to sleep. Our Zoom masters, Brock and Greg, our club administrator, Steve and Dick. And thank you. Our guest had to leave too, but thanks to everybody for joining us today. Go out and have a wonderful Rotary week.